Hi, I'm Amanda Sahaida. Welcome back to my Street Dog Coalition Redesign. When I joined this project, the website felt text heavy, confusing, and untrustworthy. The mission wasn't clear, and critical actions like donating and volunteering were buried. It began as a 3-week sprint with a team of 4. We created early concepts during the sprint, but this was the only project during the boot camp that conflicting design directions derailed the team alignment and left key goals unresolved. However, our final presentation, we kept it together and we did really well on that. In 2025, I went back to the drawing board and redesigned the project from a new angle. This time, I restructured categories and terminology on the site to better align with the organization's mission and help make it more clearer and self-evident. For example, they had programs listed called core programs and pilot programs. While these seemingly were self-evident, they had programs such as helping pets over in Ukraine as a core program where they had their One Health outreach program, which is like the identity of their site under pilot program. So that terminology didn't quite make sense. And I realized in my 2024 iteration after the team sprint that we still had not clarified those objectives. So going back to the drawing board helped create a more cohesive user experience. So what exactly was broken? I'm going to illustrate that here. The mission wasn't clearly communicated. This left users unsure if they could trust the site. Critical call to actions like the donate were located at the bottom, while options of how to volunteer were hidden in text accordions. Navigation in general overlapped categories, making programs difficult to locate, and the information architecture of the site was misaligned. This made the site feel both off in text and in visual space. The clinic info, for example, was tucked away and barely visible, and there was no real explanation of the people in animal care, which is a core identity of the site. This only added to the mistrust, while at the same time, their partner logos took up a huge amount of space on the page. My redesign aimed to fix this by clarifying the mission, elevating key calls to action, and restructuring navigation so users could quickly understand what the coalition does and how to get involved. Interviews and survey confirmed these tensions about the problems identified. Users said things like, it's not clear how this supports people, the donate section doesn't draw me in, and objectives aren't clear. Stakeholders also explained to me that many of their programs were launched directly at the clinic events. These made the two seemingly synonymous. These insights helped me with my redesign strategy. On desktop, I focused primarily on functionality. I introduced a secondary menu. This also includes clinic events that's resurfaced right at the top. So no matter what page you're on, that information is there. Clinics is just one example. STC's prior navigation was basic word drop-down menus. And in my research, I found it confusing given how much the site had to offer. By combining storytelling with visuals and a guided secondary menu, I created structure that made the site more cohesive and easier to explore. During the team sprint, our team elevated the donate button as a sticky, and next to that, we created a get involved button. This consolidated the information previously listed under the drop down accordion. In my independent redesign, I refined the colors to meet WCAG contrast standards, and I also added a double tap safeguard to prevent accidental taps on mobile. In 2025, I clarified the coalition's dual mission by splitting the programs and services into 2 clear sections: free people care and free pet care. This distinction, paired with simple visuals, helped users understand at a glance that SDC isn't just about pets, and it's about supporting both sides of the human animal bond, and it shows what they have to offer at a glance on the homepage. Beyond navigation and accessibility, I also look for ways to strengthen engagement and the organization's brand identity. SDC was already updating their logo monthly by their on site artists, but it wasn't tied to storytelling or engagement. I took that idea further by designing an evolving logo carousel, rooting that growth and resilience in a visual way. Inspired by that, I also developed community art initiative. This would give people experiencing homelessness in the community a platform to share creativity while also raising support. Together, these features connected brand identity with fundraising, offering a more personal and compassionate way for donors and volunteers to engage. In the 2024 site, clinics were at the top of the homepage, but they were tiny, easy to miss, and even had dates covering the dogs' faces. In the 2025 site redesign, SDC, they pushed the clinics even further down the page, and while their redesign was more stylized, it didn't solve the issues with information architecture or clarify the objectives. In my redesign, clinics became central. They remained at the top. On desktop, you have the option to view multiple clinics at once, and there's a clear path to the calendar on the desktop as well as in the secondary navigation. While on mobile, this is also true, and it displays one event at a time, and there's pop up details so you don't have to leave the home page. Another thing I wanted to mention about SDC's 2025 redesign was that they introduced statistics. This was actually a great step forward for building credibility. I also carried that into my redesign, but I tied it to a larger story for cohesion and building trust. A quick note about process. This project went through heavy iteration. While the 2024 sprint gave me research, the designs lacked cohesion. In 2025, after resetting the process independently, I was better able to realign structure, language, and accessibility with the coalition's true mission. To bring it all together, here's how the redesign addressed the problems. Clinics are now larger, visible, and easier to browse. The mission is clarified so users instantly know what SDC does. The text-heavy, repetitive design was streamlined for clarity, and the footer was designed with intention. Instead of distracting from call to action, it provided a heartwarming, full-circle close to the story with the evolving logo. In summary, what I ended up with was a secondary navigation, a clear way to explain the dual mission programs, and sticky buttons so the call to actions are always there. I also brought in evolving logo designs that connect back to the newly created art program, made the clinic's carousel more inviting and self-explanatory, and rewrote the mission statement to set the stage. All of these pieces work together now to rebuild trust and keep people engaged. The result was a site that is cleaner, more accessible, and more compassionate. When team alignment broke down, iteration and independent initiative reset the process, and clarifying the mission built the trust. Thanks so much for watching. For a deeper dive, explore the full case study. Just keep scrolling below where you'll find research, artifacts, wireframes, and more. And of course, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or send me an email. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.